The Evinrude's been making that grinding noise for 3 weeks now. Should have replaced the impeller back in July, but you know how it is, always one more thing needs doing first. And Keisha kept saying the divorce lawyer needed another $2,000 before the custody hearing. So here I am in the wheelhouse of rescue, 7 with an engine that sounds like it's chewing bolts while Category 5 Delilah tries to flip us sideways every 30 seconds. Marcus, we got another signal. That's Jamal up front with the thermal scanner. Rain hammering his yellow slicker so hard I can barely hear him over the wind. We've been running together since I transferred to Station Belchas in 2019. He was the one who taught me you don't fight the Mississippi current. You let it take you where it's going anyway and just steer around the bad parts. Warehouse District, near where Chapatulas goes under. 3 heat signatures, maybe 4. I checked the GPS that we jury-rigged to the console with duct tape and zip ties. Official Coast Guard NAV system went out around 0400 when the first surge hit. Water's supposed to crest at 26 feet, which means most of the lower 9th is already under. We're running the barge through what used to be streets, trying not to think about the cars and houses sliding past underneath us in the brown churn. Coordinates. I'm squinting at the screen, which keeps shorting out every time spray hits the wheelhouse. 298 by negative, wait, they're moving. Marcus, they're in the water. That stops me. You don't get in the water during a hurricane. Even civilians know that. Debris, current, undertow, chemicals from flooded industrial sites. Hell, we pulled a guy out last year during Tropical Storm Francine who got a piece of sheet metal through his thigh because he thought he could wade to higher ground. How fast they moving? Fast. Jamal's voice has that edge now. The one he gets when something's wrong but he can't articulate it yet. Like too fast. Could be current. But the radio crackles. Command's been intermittent since the main tower went down. But Lieutenant Rodriguez has been trying to coordinate from the backup station in Chalmette. All rescue units, this is command. Be advised, we have reports of medical situation in flood zones. Repeat, medical situation. Symptoms include aggressive behavior, possible infection vector through water contact. Maintain quarantine protocols and static swallows the rest. I try twice to get them back, then give up. The Motorola we're using is older than my daughter, and it's a miracle it works at all with the battery half corroded. Medical situation. Jamal's looking at me now. That's a hell of a phrase during a hurricane. Could be sewage overflow. I'm running through the possibilities while adjusting our heading. Got to angle into the wind or we'll broach. Treatment plants flood, you get all kinds of bacterial contamination. Cholera, E. coli, hepatitis. Sure, he doesn't sound convinced. Except the thermals showing those people in the water are moving upstream, against the current. I look at the scanner. He's right. 3 signatures, maybe 200 yards ahead, moving perpendicular to the flow. That's not debris. That's not even good swimming, that's something else. My phone buzzes. Keisha probably. She's been texting every 20 minutes since I deployed, asking if I'm safe, which is rich considering she spent the last year telling me I'm never around because I'm always on duty. I glanced at the screen, saw the news. They're saying something about sick people in the water. Marcus, please be careful. Destiny keeps asking when you're coming home. Destiny. My daughter's 8, lives with her mom in Baton Rouge now. Thinks I'm some kind of superhero because I showed her my rescue swimmer certification once. She doesn't know about the 3 people we lost during Hurricane Ida, the ones we got to too late because I made a bad call about the current. Jamal knows, he was there, held me up when I wanted to quit afterward, but we don't talk about it. Just like we don't talk about how his wife left him last spring, or how we both keep volunteering for the worst deployments because going home means dealing with all the shit we're running from. All right, I throttle back slightly, letting the barge settle into the flow. We'll do a visual pass. Those are people in the water, we pull them. But we're careful, full PPE decontamination protocol, the works. Command says medical situation, we treat it like hazmat. Roger that. Jamal's already pulling the gear, Tyvek suits, respirators, the heavy rubber gloves that go up past your elbows. We keep them for chemical spills, oil rig accidents. Never thought we'd need them for people. The warehouse district looks like something from a disaster movie. Water's got to be 15 feet deep here, covering everything below the second-floor windows. A shrimp boat from the Marina District is wedged between two buildings, its hull split open. Debris everywhere. Lumber, insulation, what looks like someone's entire kitchen just floating past. And underneath, through the murk, you can see shapes moving. Cars, probably. Maybe bodies. The water's the color of old coffee, thick with runoff and God knows what kind of industrial chemicals from the refineries upriver. There, Jamal points. 2 o'clock, near that Coca-Cola sign. I see them. 3 people clinging to what's left of a chain-link fence. Except they're not exactly clinging. More like waiting. They're chest deep in the surge, arms hanging loose, faces turned toward us. Too still. That's what's wrong. Everyone we've pulled today has been frantic, screaming, waving, desperate. These folks are just watching. I ease the barge closer, fighting the wind that wants to push us into the submerged building on our port side. Hello, Coast Guard Rescue. We're coming to get you. No response. They keep staring. And now I can see there's something wrong with their skin. It's got this gray cast to it, like old meat. One of them is a woman in a Saints jersey, her hair plastered to her skull. The other 2 are men, one older, one younger. None of them are shivering, which is impossible. Water's probably 70 degrees, maybe, with wind chill bringing the air temp down to the 50s. They should be hypothermic. Marcus. Jamal's voice is tight. Their eyes. He's right. Their eyes are wrong. Pupils too dilated, whites showing too much, and there's something else, a kind of milky film like cataracts but worse. The woman's mouth is open slightly, and I can see her teeth. Too many teeth. Or maybe it's just the way her lips are pulled back, but it looks like she's grinning. Stay back from the rail. I cut the engine, let us drift closer on the current. I'm going to try the loudspeaker. The PA system squeals feedback, then settles. This is Coast Guard Rescue 7. We're here to help you. We need you to swim toward the barge. Can you do that? The woman tilts her head. It's a weird movement, too smooth, like an owl or something. Then she lets go of the fence and starts moving toward us. Not swimming, more like pulling herself through the water with these long, reaching strokes that don't look right. Too powerful, too fast. Jesus Christ. Jamal's backing away from the rail. Marcus, we need to. The other 2 let go and follow. They're covering the distance between the fence and our barge in seconds, way faster than any current could account for. I hit the throttle, trying to get us moving again, but the Evinrude's still grinding and we're too close to the building and they reach the hull. I hear the thump of impact, then the scrape of hands or something on the metal. Jamal's leaning over with the rescue hook, trying to see, and I'm screaming at him to get back when the woman surges up out of the water. She doesn't climb. She doesn't pull herself. She just rises like gravity doesn't matter, water sheeting off her in sheets. Her hands hit the rail and she's half over before Jamal can react. And then I see her face up close and know we're in serious trouble. Her mouth is open impossibly wide, jaw dislocated or broken or just wrong. And there are these growths inside. Fleshy polyps or tumors or I don't even know what, pulsing in her throat. The smell hits me through the wheelhouse door. Rot and algae and something chemical, like chlorine mixed with dead fish. Her hands on the rail aren't hands anymore. The fingers are webbed, elongated, nails gone black and curved like hooks. Jamal hits her with the boat hook. The aluminum shaft connects with her shoulder and she barely notices, just keeps pulling herself over the rail with this wet, sucking sound. He hits her again, going for the head this time, and the hook punches through her cheek and out the other side. She doesn't bleed, just this thin, clear fluid that smells like seawater. Engine. Jamal's screaming. Marcus, get us out of here. I'm already slamming the throttle forward, but the Evinrude coughs, grinds, and then catches with a roar. The barge lurches forward, and the sudden acceleration throws the woman back. She falls into the water with barely a splash, and the other two are right behind her, sinking beneath the surface like stones. We clear the building, hit open water, open flooded street, and I don't ease off the throttle until we're half a mile away, both of us breathing hard, the rain still hammering down like bullets. What the fuck was that? Jamal's got the boat hook in a white-knuckle grip. What the fuck, Marcus? I don't have an answer. My hands are shaking on the wheel, and I'm thinking about the woman's eyes, that milky film, and how she moved. How they all moved. Not human. Not anymore. The radio crackles again. All units, command. Quarantine order is now in effect for all flood zones below the Claiborne Avenue line. Repeat, quarantine in effect. Do not attempt rescue of individuals exhibiting symptoms. Maintain minimum safe distance of more static. Quarantine. Jamal laughs, but there's no humor in it. They're quarantining a hurricane. That's perfect. That's just fucking perfect. My phone buzzes again. Keisha. They're evacuating Baton Rouge. They're saying it's spreading. Marcus. I'm taking Destiny to her sisters in Hattiesburg. Please tell me you're getting out of there. I look at the thermal scanner. It's lighting up like Christmas. Dozens of heat signatures all through the flooded wards, moving through the water, converging on higher ground where people are trapped in attics and on rooftops. And now I understand what we're really dealing with. Not a rescue operation. Not even a disaster. Plague. Waterborne. Spreading with every surge, every rescue attempt, every person who thought they could wade to safety. We need to get back to Station Belchas. I'm already plotting the course in my head, northeast through Chalmette, avoiding the deep water where those things are clustering. Warn them what's coming. Marcus. Jamal's looking at his hands where he gripped the rail. I touched the metal, where she grabbed it. You think? We'll decontaminate. I try to sound certain. Full rinse, bleach solution, the works. It'll be fine. But I'm remembering how fast she moved, how she didn't bleed, how the radio said water contact, and how Jamal's hands are already starting to shake. Station Belchas looks like hell when we limp into the dock. Half the roof's gone, the radio tower's bent at a 40-degree angle, and there's a Boston whaler wrapped around the fuel pump like somebody parked it there on purpose. Lieutenant Rodriguez is on the pier before we even finish tying off, and she's got that look she gets when everything's gone sideways. Hale, what the hell took you so long? We've been trying to raise you for an hour. Radio's dying. I cut the engine, the Evinrude's still making that grinding noise, worse now, and grabbed the log clipboard. Except my hands are shaking too, and I drop it, watch it skitter across the deck toward where Jamal's sitting against the wheelhouse wall, head between his knees. We encountered some of those medical situations Command mentioned. Rodriguez sees Jamal and her expression changes. Is he injured? No. Maybe. I don't know. I'm watching my best friend breathe in these short, sharp gasps, and I'm thinking about the woman on the rail, her hands gripping the metal, Jamal hitting her with the hook. He had contact with one of them, indirect through the boat hook and the rail. We need to decontaminate, run a full exposure protocol. Jesus Christ. Rodriguez keys her radio. Collins, get the quarantine kit to Dock 3, now. And bring the medical officer. She looks back at me. What did you see out there? So I tell her. The three people at the fence, the way they moved through the water, the woman climbing the rail with her jaw unhinged and those growths in her throat. How she didn't bleed when Jamal hit her. How they all sank like they had weights tied to them when the barge pulled away. Rodriguez listens without interrupting, which is bad. She's usually the type to ask questions, poke holes, make you justify your assessment. When I finish, She just nods once. We're getting similar reports from every rescue unit still operating. She pulls out her phone, shows me a video someone uploaded before the cell towers went down. Shaky footage of a flooded neighborhood, people on a roof waving at a news helicopter. Except one of them isn't waving, he's jerking, convulsing, and then he turns and lunges at the woman next to him, bites her throat out in one motion. The video cuts off as the helicopter banks away. This started about 6 hours ago. First cases were in the lower 9th near the industrial canal. Now it's spreading with the storm surge. Every time the water rises, we get new reports. Command said quarantine. Command is gone. Rodriguez's voice is flat. Main station flooded at 0830. We lost contact with District Command in mobile around 0900. Right now, Station Belchas is the last functioning Coast Guard facility in the metro area, and we've got maybe 20 personnel left. Everyone else either evacuated or... She doesn't finish. Petty Officer Collins arrives with the quarantine kit, plastic bins full of Tyvek suits, respirators, chemical rinse bottles. And behind him is Chief Petty Officer Nguyen, our medical officer, looking like he hasn't slept in 3 days. Let me see him. Nguyen kneels next to Jamal, checks his pulse, his pupils, his skin temperature. When was the exposure? Maybe 40 minutes ago. I'm trying to remember exactly. He made contact with the rail after the infected individual grabbed it. Maybe 30 seconds of exposure, max. Did he touch his face? Eyes, nose, mouth? I don't know. Maybe. It was raining hard. We were both. Doesn't matter. Nguyen stands, pulls Rodriguez aside. I can hear them talking in low voices, catching phrases. Incubation period. Water contact. No effective quarantine protocol. Then Rodriguez says something sharp, and Nguyen just shakes his head. They come back. Nguyen looks at Jamal, then at me. I need to run some tests. Blood work, viral panel, the works. But I'm going to be honest with you. If he's infected, I don't have anything to treat him with. This isn't like anything I've seen. The progression is fast. How fast? My voice sounds hollow. Fast. Nguyen glances at Rodriguez, who nods. We had a civilian come in this morning, pulled from the water near St. Bernard Parish. Said he'd been in contact with someone exhibiting symptoms. By noon, he was showing the initial signs: discoloration, pupil dilation, aggression. By 1400, he was. Another look at Rodriguez. He's in the containment room now, sedated, but the sedation isn't holding like it should. I look at Jamal. He's staring at his hands, turning them over and over, examining his palms like he's reading something written there. How long? 12 hours, maybe less. Depends on exposure level, immune response, 100 factors we don't understand yet. Nguyen kneels again, gently takes Jamal's wrist. Come on, let's get you checked out. It might be nothing. You might be fine. Jamal lets himself be helped up, but when he passes me, he stops. Marcus, if it happens, you know what you have to do, right? You're going to be fine, but I can't meet his eyes. Marcus, you're going to be fucking fine. I'm not yelling. I'm not. We'll figure this out. Nguyen will run the tests and you'll be fine, and then we're going to get back out there and pull people like we always do. Okay, like we always do. He nods, but we both know I'm lying. After they take him inside, Rodriguez and I stand on the dock in the rain. The hurricane's still raging, winds probably sustained at 130 miles per hour now, with gusts higher. Delilah's eye wall is supposed to pass over us around midnight, which means another 12 hours of this hell. We're evacuating. Rodriguez has to shout over the wind. FEMA's pulling everyone back to Hammond, setting up a containment line at the Tangipahoa Parish border. Anyone south of there is considered hot zone. What about the people still in the city? They're on their own. She looks at me, and I can see she hates saying it. Orders came from DHS an hour ago. No rescue operations in contaminated areas. Anyone showing symptoms gets flagged for containment teams. Containment teams. I laugh, bitter. You mean they're going to shoot people? I don't know what they're going to do, but I know we've got one operational rescue barge, an engine that sounds like it's about to explode, and a crew of 20 scared people who signed up to save lives, not fight some kind of waterborne plague. She pauses. We're leaving at 1800. That's 2 hours. I need you on that convoy. What about Jamal? If Nguyen clears him, he comes with us. If not, Rodriguez trails off, but I know what she's saying. If Jamal's infected, he stays. Maybe in the containment room, maybe somewhere worse. Either way, he doesn't get on that convoy. My phone buzzes. Keisha again, we're in Hattiesburg. Destiny wanted me to tell you she loves you and to please come home safe. Marcus, the news is saying they're closing the highways. If you don't get out soon. I put the phone away. Look out at the flooded wards, the water still rising, the thermal scanner on the barge showing those signatures moving through the streets. How many people are still out there? Trapped in attics, on rooftops, in trees? How many of them are infected? How many are still human? I need to check on Jamal. I head for the station building before Rodriguez can stop me. Then I'll decide about the convoy. The containment room is in the basement. Ironic, considering half of New Orleans is underwater. But Station Belchas was built on a slight rise, and the basement stayed mostly dry during Katrina. Mostly. Now it's serving as our medical bay, quarantine zone, and apparently prison. Nguyen's outside the door when I get there, pulling off bloody gloves. He's stable. Blood pressure's elevated. Temperature's up 2 degrees, but nothing conclusive yet. Could be stress response. Could be the early stages. Can I see him? 5 minutes, and you wear the suit. He hands me a Tyvek coverall and respirator. No physical contact. Stay back from the bed. Jamal's lying on a cot, staring at the ceiling. They've got him hooked up to N4, monitors beeping steadily. His skin looks gray in the fluorescent lights, or maybe that's just my imagination. His eyes track me when I come in. They're evacuating. His voice is rough. Rodriguez told me, you should go. Not without you. I sit in the plastic chair by the door, as far away as the room allows, like Nguyen ordered. Nguyen says you're stable. Probably just stress. Marcus, my hands are numb. He holds them up. They're shaking worse now, and there's something wrong with his fingernails. They look darker, thicker, and I can hear things. Underwater sounds, like singing, except it's not singing. It's... He stops, swallows hard. You need to go. Take the convoy, get to Hammond. Maybe you can still reach Baton Rouge before they close the highways. I'm not leaving you. Yes, you are. He looks at me now, really looks at me, and I see fear there, real animal fear. Because if I turn into one of those things, I need to know you're not here. I need to know you got out, went home to Destiny, had a life. Okay, I need to know that. Jamal. Please, Marcus, I'm asking you as your friend. Get the fuck out of New Orleans before this place kills you too. The door opens. Nguyen, apologetic but firm. Time's up. I need to run more tests. Outside, Rodriguez is waiting. Convoy's loading. You coming? I think about Destiny safe in Hattiesburg, about Keisha's texts begging me to evacuate, about the thermal scanner showing all those people still in the flood zones, dying or worse, about Jamal in that basement room, his hands going numb, hearing things that aren't there, about how I've spent the last 15 years pulling people from the water, and the 3 I lost during Ida still wake me up at night sometimes, and maybe this is penance or pride or just stupidity, but I can't leave. Not yet. No. I look at Rodriguez. Someone has to stay. Monitor Jamal. Keep the station operational in case there are more survivors. I'm qualified to run operations solo if needed. Marcus, that's an order, Lieutenant? I stare her down. Because unless you're ordering me to evacuate, I'm staying. This is still a Coast Guard station. We don't abandon people. She's quiet for a long moment. Then she nods once. 48 hours. If we haven't regained contact by then, I'm sending a team back for you. Both of you. She doesn't say what we're both thinking. If Jamal's still Jamal by then. The convoy leaves at 1803, 3 trucks and a trailer full of equipment and personnel. I watch from the dock as they disappear up the access road, taillights fading into the rain. Then I'm alone. Just me, Nguyen, and 2 junior petty officers who volunteered to stay. And Jamal in the basement, slowly becoming something else. The radio crackles. Different frequency this time, emergency broadcast, automated. Mandatory evacuation order for all parishes south of Interstate 12. This is not a drill. All residents must evacuate immediately.
Contamination zones expanding.
National Guard establishing checkpoints at parish lines. Anyone attempting to cross without clearance will be detained. Repeat, this is a mandatory evacuation. I look at the thermal scanner. The signatures are still moving, still spreading, and the water's still rising. 2,300 hours. Hurricane Delilah's eyewall passes over Station Belchas with a sound like freight trains colliding. The wind shifts from southwest to northeast in about 10 minutes, and suddenly we're taking waves from a different direction, water sloshing over the dock, the whole station groaning like a ship at sea. I'm in the communications room trying to raise someone, anyone, on the radio when Nguyen comes in, soaked from his run across the exposed walkway. We've got a problem. Another one? The civilian I told you about. The one we sedated this morning. Nguyen's breathing hard. He's gone. I'm on my feet. Gone how? The containment room. Ripped the door off its hinges. He shows me his phone. A photo of twisted metal, the heavy security door we installed after Katrina torn like cardboard. And he took the orderly with him. Petty Officer Chin. There's blood, Marcus. A lot of blood. Where? Heading toward the dock. Looks like. But that was 20 minutes ago. He could be anywhere now. I grabbed the shotgun from the weapons locker, Remington 870, loaded with buckshot, not standard Coast Guard issue, but Rodriguez kept it for gators and looters. How's Jamal? Still stable. Temperature's up another degree. Pupils are reactive but sluggish. And he's reporting auditory hallucinations. That underwater singing he mentioned, it's getting louder, he says. And Marcus.
Nguyen hestita.
His fingernails. They're not nails anymore. They're more like chitin. Hard, pointed, growing fast. How long? I don't know. 6 hours, maybe less. The progression varies by individual, but it's accelerating. He looks at me. If you're going to say goodbye, you should do it soon. But I can't think about that yet. Right now, I need to find a transformed civilian and a missing orderly before. The lights flicker. Once, twice, then die completely. Emergency backups kick in after 5 seconds, bathing everything in red. Generator. I'm already moving toward the door. Should have plenty of fuel. Nguyen follows. Unless we find the generator room door open. Inside, Petty Officer Chun is on the floor in a puddle of something dark. The generator's still running, but the main power line has been ripped out of the control panel deliberately by the look of it. Someone strong enough to tear through conduit and wiring with their bare hands. Chan. I kneel next to him, check for a pulse. It's there but weak. His neck is torn. Not bitten, more like clawed. And there's that smell again. Rot and algae and chemicals. Hospital. Nguyen's already applying pressure to the wound. Now, he's lost too much blood. Nearest hospital is flooded. I'm scanning the room, shotgun up, expecting something to lunge from the shadows. We stabilize him here or he dies. Fine. Get me the medical kit from the truck. And Marcus, be careful. That thing is still in the building somewhere. I leave Nguyen with Chun and head outside. The hurricane's eye is overhead now. Winds dropped to maybe 20 miles per hour, rain down to a drizzle, but the silence is worse than the noise, like the whole world's holding its breath. The sky's clear directly above, stars visible through the gap in the clouds, but on all sides the wall of the eye wall looms, black, churning, alive with lightning. The medical kit's in the response truck parked by the dock. I'm halfway there when I see it. A figure standing in the water near the fuel pump, just standing there, chest deep, absolutely motionless. Wrong shape, wrong proportions, like someone stretched a human body on a rack and then reassembled it poorly. Coast Guard. My voice is too loud in the eerie calm. Identify yourself. Turns. And even in the red emergency lights, I can see it's not human anymore. The face is elongated, jaw distended, and those growths, the polyps or tumors or whatever they are covering its neck and shoulders like barnacles. Its eyes catch the light and reflect it back, yellow-green, like a gator's. Takes a step toward me. The water barely ripples. I raise the shotgun. Stop! Don't move! It doesn't stop. It moves toward the dock with that same impossible speed, pulling itself through the water in smooth, powerful strokes. I fire, the buckshot catches its center mass, and it staggers but doesn't fall, doesn't even slow down. I pump, fire again, hit it in the shoulder this time, and black fluid sprays, but it's still coming, climbing onto the dock now, water streaming off its body. I back toward the building, firing 3 more times, chest, head. The head shot drops it, but only for a second. It gets back up, that ruined face turning toward me, and I can hear it now, that singing Jamal mentioned. Except it's not coming from the thing's mouth. It's coming from the water itself, vibrating up through the dock, through my bones. The last shell. I fire point blank as it reaches for me, and the impact throws it backward into the water. It sinks, and I don't wait to see if it comes back up. I grab the medical kit and run. Nguyen's got Chun stabilized when I burst back into the generator room, breathing hard. We need to secure this place. Board up the ground floor windows, lock every door, get everyone to the 2nd floor. Marcus, there are only 4 of us left. Chun can't be moved, and Jamal. I'll handle Jamal. You secure Chun and get Petty Officers Mitchell and Torres upstairs with the weapons. That thing's not dead. I don't think we can kill it. Nguyen looks at me like I'm crazy, but he doesn't argue, just nods and gets back to work on Chin. I head to the basement. The containment room is exactly where I left Jamal, but the monitors are going haywire, heart rate 140 and climbing, blood pressure through the roof, temperature at 104. He's on his side, curled up, hands pressed against his ears. Jamal. I stay by the door like Nguyen ordered. Can you hear me? It's so loud, Marcus. His voice is wrong, deeper with an echo to it like he's speaking underwater. The singing is not just in my head anymore. It's everywhere. In the walls, in the floor, in the water. He looks at me and his eyes are wrong too. Pupils blown wide, whites gone yellow. It's calling me, calling all of us. Down to the water, down to the deep places where we belong. You belong here, with me, with your crew. I'm fighting to keep my voice steady. You're Jamal Toussaint, Petty Officer 1st Class, 15-year service, and you're going to beat this thing. No. He sits up, and I see his hands. Fingers elongated, webbed, those black hook nails fully formed now. I'm not. I can feel it, Marcus. I can feel myself disappearing. Everything I was, everything I am, just fading. And in its place, there's something else. Something older. Hungry. He looks at his hands, flexes those wrong fingers. How much longer do I have? I don't have an answer. Ngwin said 6 hours, but looking at Jamal now, I'd say maybe 2, maybe less. There's a gun in the weapons locker. Jamal's voice is remarkably calm. The Sig Sauer P229. You know the one. When it happens, when I'm not me anymore, I need you to use it. Not Chun, not Ngwin. You. Can you do that for me? Jamal. Can you do that for me, Marcus? I think about all the years we've worked together. All the rescues, the emergencies, the long nights in the station when the coffee's bad and the talk's good. I think about how he held me together after Ida, when I was ready to quit, when I couldn't live with the guilt. How he told me that 3 people died but dozens lived because we were there, because we tried. Yeah, my voice cracks. I can do that. Thank you. He lies back down. Now get out of here. Go upstairs with the others. I don't want you here when it happens. I don't want my last memory, the thing I become's first memory, to be your face. I leave him there, lock the door from the outside with the heavy bolt. Then I take the Sig Sauer from the weapons locker and go upstairs to wait. The eye passes at midnight. The wind shifts back to southwest, and the second half of Hurricane Delilah slams into us like God's fist. We're on the second floor, me, Ngwin, Mitchell, and Torres, watching the water rise through the windows. It's up to the first floor ceiling now, maybe 18 feet total, and still climbing. We should have evacuated. Torres is 19, fresh out of training, been at Belchas for 3 months. She's got the AR-15 we kept for active shooter scenarios, holding it like a talisman. We should have gone with Rodriguez. Shut up, Torres. Mitchell's older, career Coast Guard, probably thinking about his retirement that's supposed to come next year. He's got the other shotgun watching the stairs. We're here, we deal with it. My phone's dead. Battery finally gave out around 2,200. No way to tell Keisha I'm okay. No way to hear Destiny's voice one more time. Maybe that's for the best. Maybe it's easier this way. The radio crackles. Still the automated emergency broadcast, but there's something underneath it now, interference or maybe voices, hard to tell. That underwater singing that Jamal described. I'm starting to hear it too. A low vibration that makes my teeth ache. Marcus. Nguyen's at the window pointing. Look. The water's glowing. Not bright, just a faint bioluminescence. Like the algae blooms we get sometimes in the Gulf. Except this is different. The light's moving in patterns, swirls and eddies that don't match the current. And there are shapes in it. Dozens of them, maybe hundreds, moving through the flooded streets toward the station. Jesus Christ. Mitchell racks the shotgun. How many are there? Too many. I'm watching them converge, drawn by something. Maybe the light from our generator, maybe the singing, maybe just instinct. They're coming from everywhere, pulling themselves through the water with that same impossible speed. We need to fall back. Get to the roof. What about Chan? Ngwin looks toward the generator room. And Jamal? Chen's sedated. He's not going anywhere. I don't mention that if we abandon the first floor, Chen's as good as dead. And Jamal? The building shakes. Something massive just hit the foundation or maybe the dock. The emergency lights flicker. Now, I'm already moving toward the stairs to the roof access. Everyone up. Move. Torres goes first, then Mitchell. Ngwin hesitates, looking back toward where Chan is, then follows. I'm last, and as I reach the stairs, I hear it. The sound of the basement door ripping open. Metal screaming, bolts shearing. Then footsteps, heavy and wet, coming up from below. Jamal. His name comes out as a whisper. I know it's not him anymore. Know that whatever's climbing those stairs stopped being my friend somewhere in the last 2 hours. But I can't help hoping. The thing that used to be Jamal rounds the corner. I barely recognize him. The transformation is complete. Skin gone gray-green and slick. Fingers fully webbed with those hook claws extended. face elongated into something between human and deep-sea predator. His eyes are solid yellow now, no whites, no iris, just that alien glow. But he stops when he sees me, tilts his head, like he's trying to remember something. Jamal, I've got the Sig Sauer, but I can't raise it. If you're still in there, if any part of you is still you, please, fight it. He opens his mouth. That singing pours out, louder now, and I can hear words in it, or not words exactly, but meanings. Come down. Join us. The water is home. The deep is calling. And underneath it all, something that might be Jamal's voice, screaming. Then he lunges. I fire twice, center mass like training, and he staggers but doesn't stop. I fire again, going for the head, and the round catches him above the left eye. He drops, twitches once, and goes still. I stand there, gun smoking, looking at what's left of my best friend. 15 years of service. Saved 43 lives that I know of, probably more. Taught me everything about rescue operations, about reading currents, about the difference between bravery and stupidity. Held me together when I fell apart. Dead on the station floor with my bullet in his brain. Marcus, Mitchell's yelling from the roof access. They're coming through the windows. I run. Up the stairs, through the hatch, out onto the flat roof where the wind hits me like a physical blow. The three of them are already there, weapons up, looking down at the nightmare below. The transformed have reached the building. They're climbing the walls, actual climbing, using those hook claws to grip the brick and concrete, pulling themselves up in defiance of gravity. The first one reaches the roof edge as I watch, and Torres fires a burst from the AR-15. The rounds punch through its torso, and it falls back into the water. But there are more, so many more. They keep coming, wave after wave, and we keep firing, and they keep falling, but it's not enough. There are too many, and we don't have enough ammunition, and the water's still rising. How long until the convoy comes back? Torres is crying, trying to reload. Rodriguez said 48 hours, right? That's tomorrow night. We just have to hold until... They're not coming back. Mitchell's voice is flat. You heard the radio. Quarantine. Containment line. We're on the wrong side of it. Then we swim. Torres looks at the water. We can make it to higher ground, flag down. You want to get in that water? I point at the glowing shapes, the transformed pulling themselves toward us. That's how they spread. That's how it gets you. So what, we just wait here to die? I don't have an answer, because she's right, we can't stay here, can't get in the water, can't call for help. We're trapped on a roof in the middle of a Category 5 hurricane with things that used to be human climbing toward us, and my best friend is dead downstairs with my bullet in him, and Destiny is in Hattiesburg thinking her dad is some kind of hero. The radio in my pocket crackles. Different voice this time, human, stressed, but human. Any Coast Guard personnel in the New Orleans metro area. This is Major Chun, Louisiana National Guard, broadcasting from the containment line. If you can hear this, we are not coming back for you. Repeat, NO rescue operations south of the Tangipahoa line. The infection has spread too far. Effective 0600 hours, lethal force is authorized for any infected individuals attempting to cross the quarantine boundary. If you are uninfected and can reach the line, identify yourself immediately or you will be fired upon. This is not a joke. This is not a drill. We are shooting anything that comes out of that water. God help you all. The transmission cuts off. We stand there in the wind and rain, looking at each other. So that's it. Mitchell lowers his shotgun. We're done. No, I'm thinking about Jamal, about his last words, about how he asked me to end it, to not let him become one of those things, about how I did it because he was my friend, because he deserved that much. No, we're not done. Not yet. I look at the barge, still tied to the dock below. The Evinrude's probably underwater now, ruined, but the barge itself is buoyant, designed to stay afloat even in the worst conditions. And there's another motor in the equipment shed. Older, smaller, probably hasn't run in years, but maybe the backup outboard. Gwyn follows my gaze. The mercury we use for the inflatable. You think? I think it's our only chance. The transformed are getting closer, maybe 30 seconds from reaching the roof. Mitchell, Torres, hold them here. Buy us 5 minutes. Gwyn, you're with me. We don't discuss it, don't debate. Mitchell and Torres open fire, and Gwyn and I go back through the hatch, down the stairs 3 at a time past Jamal's body. I don't look, can't look, and out the side door toward the equipment shed. The water's up to my chest now. The current's strong, full of debris, and I can feel things brushing against my legs. I try not to think about what they are, just push forward, one hand on the wall for balance, the other holding the Sig Sauer up and dry. The shed door's jammed. Gwyn and I hit it together, and it bursts open in a spray of rusty water. Inside, the mercury outboard is right where we left it. 40 horsepower, probably 20 years old, covered in cobwebs and gator shit. I grab it, and together we haul it back toward the dock. The barge is still there, pulling against its moorings. The Evinrude's completely submerged, useless. We get the mercury onto the stern mount, and I'm working on the clamps with fingers that have gone numb from cold and fear when I hear Torres scream. I look up. She's on the roof, backing toward the edge, the AR-15 empty. Mitchell's down. I can't see him from here, but Torres is alone, and there are 3 transformed between her and the hatch. Torres! I'm yelling, but the wind tears my voice away. Jump! Jump to the barge. She looks down at the water, at the glowing shapes moving through it, looks back at the transformed closing in, and then she jumps. She hits the water 20 feet from the barge, goes under, comes up gasping, and starts swimming toward us with powerful strokes. She's maybe 10 feet away when one of the transformed surfaces next to her. I see its hands, webbed, clawed, reach for her. See her go under again. She doesn't come back up. God damn it. I'm still working on the motor mount, fingers slipping on the wet metal. Gwyn, get the fuel line connected. Now. He's already doing it, hands shaking, the wind trying to tear the hose from his grip. Above us, more transformed are pouring onto the roof. I can see them moving in the emergency lights, dozens of them, and the building is shaking. Whether from the hurricane or their weight or both, I don't know. Done. Gwyn steps back. Try it. I hit the starter cord. The mercury coughs, dies. I try again, cough, sputter. Nothing. Third time, and it catches with a roar that sounds like salvation. Black smoke pours from the exhaust, and the barge shudders as the propeller bites water. Cast off. I'm already at the wheel, such as it is, just a tiller arm connected to the outboard. Gwyn unties the moorings and we drift free, the current immediately grabbing us, pulling us away from the dock. Behind us, Station Belchas is crawling with transformed. They're on the roof, the walls hanging from the windows like some kind of hellish Christmas decorations. And they're following us, dropping into the water, swimming after the barge with that same impossible speed. I open the throttle all the way. The mercury screams and we surge forward. Not fast, not with the current and wind fighting us, but faster than those things can swim. We pull away gradually, putting 20 yards between us and them, then 50, then 100. Gwyn collapses against the wheelhouse wall. Where are we going? Good question. The quarantine line is north, near Hammond, maybe 60 miles as the crow flies, but we're not crows. We're on a rescue barge with a 40-year-old outboard, in the middle of a hurricane, in water full of debris and infected and God knows what else. Hammond. I point north, where the sky is marginally less black. We hit the quarantine line, identify ourselves before they shoot us, and pray they let us through. And if they don't? I don't answer, because if they don't, if we've come all this way just to get shot by our own people, then maybe Torres and Mitchell and Jamal and all the others had the right idea. Maybe it's better to go fast, to let the water take you, than to keep fighting a war you've already lost. But I'm not ready to give up. Not yet. Not while there's still a chance, however slim, that I might see destiny again. The mercury holds. We navigate by the GPS still working somehow and the thermal scanner, avoiding the heat signatures that cluster in the flooded neighborhoods. Every time we pass through a neighborhood, I see them. People on roofs, in attics, waving, screaming for help. And I have to keep going, have to leave them behind. Because I know what they are now, or what they're becoming. 0400 hours. We're somewhere near Slidell when the mercury starts making that grinding noise, different from the Evinrude's death rattle, but just as ominous. Nguyen checks the fuel line, the prop, everything he can reach without going into the water. Bearings going. Maybe another hour before it seizes completely. How far to Hammond? 30 miles, maybe more. Currents against us, winds against us. He looks at the sky, which is starting to lighten with false dawn. We're not going to make it. I check the thermal scanner. The heat signatures are thinning out this far north. Fewer transformed, or maybe they're just concentrated back in the metro area where the water's deeper. But there's still movement all around us, and the water's still glowing faintly with that bioluminescent shimmer. We'll make it. I'm not sure I believe it, but I say it anyway. We just need to. The radio crackles, that same National Guard frequency, but different voice this time. All uninfected personnel attempting to reach the containment line, be advised, quarantine protocols have been updated. All individuals who have had any contact with floodwater are to be considered potentially infected. Quarantine period is now 14 days minimum. Anyone crossing the line will be detained for observation. Repeat, no exceptions. 14 days. I look at Nguyen, standing in water that's been sloshing around the barge for the last 6 hours. Look at my own hands, which have touched the wheel, the motor, the rail where that first transformed grabbed it. We've both had contact. Multiple contacts. Detained for observation. Nguyen laughs, but there's no humor in it. You know what that means. They're not going to let us through. We get to that line, we're going into a camp somewhere. Probably a tent in the middle of nowhere, watched by guards with shoot-to-kill orders. Better than dying here. Is it? He looks at me. Marcus, we both touched that water. We both had exposure. What are the odds we're clean? I don't answer, because he's right, the odds are terrible. Maybe we got lucky, maybe our immune systems are fighting it off, or maybe we're just in the early stages and the symptoms haven't shown yet. Maybe in 6 hours, 12 hours, we'll start hearing that singing. Start feeling our fingers going numb. My phone, dead phone, useless phone, is still in my pocket. I pull it out, look at the black screen, trying to remember the last photo of Destiny I saw. She was wearing her soccer uniform, holding up a trophy from some recreation league game. Smiling, gap where her front tooth used to be. If I'm infected, I'll never see her again. Even if I make it to the quarantine line, even if they let me into their observation camp, I won't be allowed contact with civilians. 14 days minimum, the radio said. Probably longer. Probably until they're sure the infection has run its course or burned out or whatever the hell it does. And if I become one of those things, then Destiny's last memory of her father will be knowing he died as a monster. We should turn around. Nguyen's voice is quiet. Go back to Belchas. Or just let the mercury die, drift wherever the current takes us. At least then we're not spreading it. We're not bringing it to the camps, to the quarantine zones. You want to give up? I want to not infect my family. He's shouting now, months of stress breaking through. I want to not be responsible for spreading this thing further. We don't know how it transmits. Water contact, airborne, bodily fluids? We don't know incubation period, we don't know symptom progression, we don't know shit. And you want to walk up to a National Guard checkpoint and say, hey, we just spent 6 hours in contaminated floodwater, but we're probably fine? He's right. Of course he's right. The responsible thing, the Coast Guard thing, would be to quarantine ourselves. Stay away from the containment line, away from uninfected populations. Die here if we have to, but don't risk spreading the infection further. But I'm thinking about Jamal, about how he knew what was happening to him, could feel himself disappearing, and asked me to end it. About how I put a bullet in my best friend's brain because it was the kind thing to do, the human thing, and how I'm going to have to live with that for whatever time I have left. And I'm thinking about Destiny, about how she deserves to know what happened to her father. Deserves better than wondering if he's still alive somewhere, or transformed, or dead in the water. She deserves closure. Even if it means I die in a quarantine camp, even if I never see her again, she deserves to know. We keep going. I adjust our heading, pointing the barge north-northwest toward Hammond. We get to the containment line, we identify ourselves as Coast Guard personnel, and we submit to whatever quarantine protocols they have. And if we're infected, if we start showing symptoms, we do what Jamal did. We end it before we become those things. Agreed. Ngwin looks at me for a long moment, then nods. Agreed. The mercury grinds on. We pass through Slidell, or what's left of it, around 0500. The water's dropped a bit here, maybe 10 feet instead of 20, and we can see the tops of buildings, the higher roads. There are people on some of the roofs, but they're not waving. They're just sitting there, motionless, staring at the water, waiting. Are they infected? Ngwin has the binoculars. I can't tell from here. Doesn't matter. We're past them now, leaving them behind. We can't help them. Around 0600, we see the helicopters. Black Hawks, flying low over the flood zones, searchlights sweeping the water. National Guard, probably, or maybe FEMA. They're not landing, not attempting rescues, just observing, marking positions, maybe looking for concentrations of infected. One of them spots us, banks toward the barge, searchlight pinning us like insects. A voice booms from a loudspeaker. Unidentified vessel. This is National Guard Unit Delta 79er. Identify yourselves immediately. I grabbed the radio. This is Petty Officer Marcus Hale, United States Coast Guard, Station Belchas. I have one additional personnel, Chief Petty Officer Ngwin, requesting permission to proceed to quarantine line for observation. Silence. Then, stand by. The helicopter hovers above us, close enough that I can see the door gunner with his M240, barrel pointed down at our deck. They're deciding whether to let us through or just shoot us now, and I honestly don't know which I'd prefer. Finally, proceed to Highway 190 bridge at Covington. You will be met by quarantine personnel. Do not deviate from your current course. Any attempt to leave the vessel or make unauthorized contact will result in lethal force. Acknowledge. Acknowledged. I key off the radio. Look at Ngwin. We're going in. Yeah. He checks his hands again, looking for signs, for symptoms. We're going in. The sun's fully up by the time we reach the Highway 190 bridge. The water's down to maybe 6 feet here, and we can see the roadway, the cars abandoned in both lanes, the barriers set up on the north side. National Guard units behind sandbags, vehicles with mounted weapons, soldiers in full MOPP gear like they're expecting chemical warfare. And in the water, between us and the bridge, there's a line. Not physical, just a marker, orange buoys every 50 feet. The quarantine boundary. Cross it and we're subject to their protocols. Stay south and we're on our own. Last chance to turn around. Nguyen's watching, the soldiers watching us. We go past that line. There's no coming back. I think about Station Belchas, underwater now probably. About Jamal in the basement, Torres in the flood, Mitchell on the roof. About all the people we left behind, the ones we couldn't save. About Destiny, safe in Hattiesburg, who needs to know her father tried. We go through. I push the throttle forward, and the barge crosses the line. Immediately, the soldiers train their weapons on us. A voice on a loudspeaker, "Cut your engine. Drop any weapons over the side. Step away from the controls and put your hands on your heads." We comply. The Sig Sauer goes into the water with barely a splash. The Mercury dies, sees bearing, probably done for good this time, and we drift toward the bridge on momentum. Soldiers in MOPP suits wait out to meet us, and I see their weapons are raised, fingers on triggers. One wrong move and they'll light us up. How many personnel? A captain, by his insignia, standing on the bridge approach. Any injuries? Any symptoms? 2 personnel. My voice sounds strange, hoarse from 6 hours of wind and rain. No injuries, no symptoms that we're aware of, but we've had extensive contact with contaminated floodwater. We're requesting quarantine observation. The captain consults with someone on a radio. Then, "You'll be transported to Observation Camp Charlie near Franklinton. 14-day minimum quarantine. No outside contact. No exceptions. If you develop symptoms, you'll be moved to a containment facility. If you're still clean after 14 days, you'll be released but required to register with local health authorities." Questions? About 1,000, but I just shake my head. They zip tie our hands behind our backs. "Standard protocol, sir, nothing personal," and load us into the back of a deuce and a half. The last thing I see as we pull away is the barge, drifting south on the current, back toward New Orleans, back toward the flood zones and the transformed and the water that glows with bioluminescent death. Then the tarp closes, and we're in darkness, and there's nothing to do but wait. Day 6 in Observation Camp Charlie. The tent city sprawls across what used to be a state park near Franklinton. White canvas as far as you can see, surrounded by chain link and razor wire. Maybe 300 people here, all of us pulled from the flood zones, all of us potentially infected. We're divided into groups of 10, 1 tent per group, guards with thermometers and symptom checklists visiting twice a day. So far, I'm clean.
Temperatura normal, no pupil dilation, no auditório hallucination, no skin discoloration.
Same with Nguyen, though he barely speaks to me anymore. I think he's angry, at me for insisting we keep going, at himself for following, at the whole goddamn situation. Or maybe he's just scared. We all are. They let me make 1 phone call on day 3. Keisha answered, started crying when she heard my voice. Told me Destiny asks about me every day, wants to know when I'm coming home. I told her 2 weeks, maybe longer, told her I was fine, told her I loved them both. Didn't mention the quarantine camp or the soldiers or the people who started showing symptoms and got transferred to the containment facility, which is a polite name for a place you don't come back from. On day 7, the guy in the bunk next to mine, Thomas from Kenner, insurance adjuster, pulled from his attic after 3 days in the water, starts complaining about ringing in his ears. By day 8, he's hearing the singing. By day 9, his fingernails are turning black. They take him at midnight when most of us are asleep. I'm awake, though, watching through the tent flap as they load him into the van, still in his underwear, crying, begging them to let him talk to his kids one more time. The van drives toward the containment facility, and I don't see Thomas again. Day 10. Nguyen's hands start shaking. Not much, just a tremor when he holds his food tray. He sees me noticing, and the look he gives me could burn through steel. "Don't." His voice is flat. "Don't say anything. It's just stress. Just nerves." But we both know it's not. And that night, when the guards come by for the evening check, I watch them take his temperature, 104.2, and see the way they glance at each other. They don't take him away that night. Maybe they want to observe the progression. Maybe they need more data. Maybe they're just cruel. Day 11. Nguyen's hands are fully webbed now. He sits on his bunk, staring at them, flexing those wrong fingers. "It doesn't hurt," he tells me. "That's the weird thing. Should hurt, right? Your body transforming like this. But it doesn't hurt. It just feels, right? Like this is what I was supposed to be all along. Don't talk like that. Why not? It's true. I can hear them now, Marcus. The others. The ones who've transformed. They're in the water, the lake, the rivers, the gulf. Millions of them. And they're singing, calling to us, telling us to come home. This isn't home. Home is your family, your life, my life. He laughs, and it sounds like waves breaking. My life was pulling corpses from storm surge and watching my marriage fall apart and knowing that no matter how many people I saved, there would always be more drowning. Some life. The water's better. The water doesn't lie. On day 12, they come for him. I don't fight them, don't argue. Just watch as they load him into the van, and he looks back at me once before the doors close. His eyes are yellow, not human, but there's something in them, maybe recognition, maybe gratitude, maybe just the last echo of the man he used to be. Day 13. I'm alone in the tent now. Everyone else either released or transferred. The guards watch me more carefully, checking for signs. But I'm still clean. Temperature 98.6. Pupils reactive. Skin normal. No tremors or hallucinations. I don't understand why. Everyone else who had contact with the water either died or transformed. Why am I different? Day 14. They run the final tests, blood work, full physical, psychological evaluation. The camp doctor, a tired-looking woman named Captain Reeves, gives me the results in her tent that serves as a makeshift office. You're clean. She sounds almost surprised. No infection, no antibodies that we can detect. Nothing. You shouldn't be. Everyone with your level of exposure has either died or transformed. But somehow you're fine. Why? We don't know. Genetic immunity, maybe, or you just got lucky. Either way, you're free to go. We'll need you to check in with health authorities monthly for the next year, and if you develop any symptoms, I know the drill. She stamps my release papers, and just like that, I'm free. They give me a bus ticket to Hattiesburg, $50 in cash, and a pamphlet about PTSD resources. Then I'm walking out through the chain-link gates, and the Louisiana sun is shining like nothing happened. Like the world isn't fundamentally different than it was 2 weeks ago. Keisha picks me up at the Hattiesburg bus station. We don't talk much during the drive to her sister's place. What is there to say? I saw things, did things, lost people. She read about it on the news. The gap between those two experiences is unbridgeable. Destiny's in the backyard when we pull up, kicking a soccer ball against the fence. She sees me and runs, throws herself into my arms with enough force to make me stagger. Daddy, you're home. Mommy said you were fighting monsters. Something like that, kiddo. I hold her tight, smelling her shampoo, strawberry, the cheap kind from Walmart, and trying not to think about Jamal, about Nguyen, about all the others who don't get to hold their kids anymore. Did you win? I think about that. About Station Belchas underwater, about the hundreds, thousands of transformed still in the flood zones, about the quarantine line that's moved north twice in the last week, about the reports on the news of similar outbreaks in Houston after Tropical Storm Grace, in Mobile after Hurricane Helen. Yeah, I lie. I won. That night, after Destiny's asleep, I sit on the porch with a beer I don't drink and my phone showing news feeds I can't stop reading. The quarantine zones are expanding. The transformed are spreading into rivers, lakes, coastal waters. Scientists are calling it a waterborne pathogen, a genetic retrovirus, a parasitic infection. They don't know. Nobody knows. And I keep thinking about what Nguyen said, about the water not lying, about it feeling right, about millions of them singing in the Gulf, calling to the ones who haven't transformed yet, calling me. Because here's the thing they don't tell you in the quarantine camp, the thing Captain Reeves didn't mention. I'm clean, yes. No infection, no symptoms, but I can still hear them sometimes. Faint, distant, like static on a radio. That underwater singing, those voices that aren't quite voices, telling me the water is home, The deep is calling, come down, come down. I'm immune to the transformation, but I'm not immune to knowing it's there, to understanding on some level what I escaped, what I might still become if I'm not careful, if I let my guard down, if I go near the water again. My phone buzzes. Text from Rodriguez. Heard you made it out. Lost contact with Belchas. Station's gone. Everyone who stayed is gone.
I'm sorry, Marcus.
I'm so sorry. I delete the message. Finish not drinking my beer. Look out at Keisha's sister's suburban street. Neat houses, trimmed lawns, sprinklers running despite the water restrictions, and try to feel grateful. Try to feel lucky. Mostly I feel numb. Inside, Destiny cries out in her sleep. I go to her, sit on the edge of her bed until she settles. She's dreaming about something. Her face scrunched up, hands clutching the blanket. When she wakes enough to see me, she smiles. Stay, Daddy. Don't go back to the monsters. I'm not going anywhere, and I mean it. I'm done with the Coast Guard, done with rescues, done with the water. I'll find a job here in Hattiesburg, something boring and safe, far from the coast. I'll be the father Destiny deserves, the ex-husband Keisha can tolerate. I'll rebuild something normal from the wreckage. But late at night, when everyone's asleep and the house is quiet, I can still hear them, singing in the Gulf, in the rivers, in every puddle and stream, calling to me, reminding me that I left Jamal behind, that I put the bullet in his brain, that Torres drowned and Mitchell died and Gwyn transformed and Chun bled out in the generator room, and I survived. I don't deserve to have survived. That's the thing I can't tell anyone. That's the psychological scar that won't heal. I'm alive because I was lucky, or immune, or chosen by some random genetic quirk. Not because I was better or smarter or braver. Just lucky. And luck runs out. I check the weather forecast compulsively now. Hurricane season isn't over. There are 3 more storms forming in the Atlantic, and the models show them tracking toward the Gulf, toward Louisiana, toward all the places where the transformed wait in the water, singing their siren songs, spreading with every surge and flood and rescue attempt. The world is ending slowly by drowning, and I'm one of the few who knows it, who saw it happening, who fought it and failed and lived to tell about it. Except I can't tell about it. Can't make anyone understand what it was like, what we lost, what's still coming. Because they weren't there. They didn't see Jamal transform or hear Gwyn talk about the water feeling right or watch Torres go under and not come back up. They didn't make the choice I made to keep going north, to risk spreading the infection, to save myself instead of doing the responsible thing and dying in the flood with everyone else. So I sit on this porch with this beer I won't drink and this phone showing me the world slowly drowning, and I try to be grateful. Try to be the father and ex-husband and survivor everyone needs me to be. And late at night, in the quiet moments, I let myself remember. Jamal's voice asking me to end it. Torres screaming as she jumped. Nguyen's yellow eyes looking back from the van. Station Belchas disappearing beneath the surge. The water is home. The voices sing. The deep is calling. Come down. Come down. I'm not going down. I'm staying here, staying human, staying alive for Destiny's sake. But I hear them, and I'll keep hearing them. And someday, maybe tomorrow, maybe 10 years from now, there will be another storm, another flood, another surge. And then we'll see if my immunity holds, or if I finally answer the call. 3 months later, Hurricane Olivia forms in the Gulf. Category 4, tracking straight for Hattiesburg. Keisha wants to evacuate to Atlanta. Her sisters already left, but Destiny has a soccer tournament next weekend, and I promised I'd be there, and the storm's still 4 days out. Plenty of time. Except the weather models keep shifting. Olivia's intensifying faster than predicted. Category 5 now. Winds at 180 miles per hour. And the track's bending north. faster than expected. NOAA's issuing warnings, but they're the same warnings they always issue. Take precautions. Prepare to evacuate. Monitor local news. I watch the radar and see the spiral arms reaching toward us like fingers. See the storm surge predictions, 20 feet, 30 feet in some areas. See the mandatory evacuation orders spreading north from the coast like infection zones. And I hear them, louder now, the singing from the water. They're riding the surge, spreading inland with every storm, getting closer. Marcus, we need to go. Keisha's loading suitcases into her car. Now, before the highways jam up. Yeah, but I'm still watching the radar, still listening to that singing that only I can hear. Yeah, you're right. Destiny comes out with her soccer ball, her stuffed dolphin, her backpack full of things an 8-year-old thinks are essential. Are we going on an adventure? Something like that. I pick her up, hold her close. You stay with Mom, okay? Stay safe. I'll meet you in Atlanta in a couple days. You're not coming with us? Keisha's voice is sharp. Marcus, you can't stay here. Not with another storm. I know. There's some people I need to check on first. Some old Coast Guard buddies still in the area. Make sure they're evacuating. It's not quite a lie. Rodriguez is still at some admin post in Biloxi. I could call her, make sure she's getting out. Except I won't, because that's not why I'm staying. Keisha looks at me for a long moment. She knows I'm lying, has always been able to read me, even when our marriage was falling apart. The monsters are coming back. Yeah, and you think you need to fight them. I think I need to do something other than run. I meet her eyes. Everyone I knew from Belchas is dead or transformed or worse. Rodriguez lost her entire district. There's barely a Coast Guard left in Louisiana. Someone has to. Has to what? Die for nothing? Become one of those things. She's crying now, trying to keep her voice down so Destiny doesn't hear. You got out, Marcus. You survived. That means something. It means I was lucky. I can hear them clearer now, the singing building like pressure behind my eyes. It doesn't mean I deserve to be alive more than Jamal did, more than any of them. So this is guilt? Survivor's guilt making you suicidal? Maybe, probably. I don't have a good answer. Keisha wipes her eyes, straightens up. Fine, you want to stay, you stay. But I'm taking Destiny to Atlanta, and when this storm passes, if you're still alive, you call me. And maybe we can figure out how to put your life back together. But I can't do that if you're dead. She gets in the car. Destiny waves from the back seat, and I wave back, and then they're gone up the street, taillights disappearing around the corner. And I'm alone with the approaching storm and the singing in my head and the knowledge that I'm probably about to do something incredibly stupid. But I'm done running, done hiding, done pretending that normal life is possible after what I've seen. I checked the news one last time. Olivia's made landfall near Biloxi. Storm surge is catastrophic, 40 feet in some areas, the highest ever recorded. The quarantine zones are flooding, the containment facilities are evacuating or just abandoning the transformed to drown. Except they don't drown. They swim. They spread. And they're coming north. I get in my truck, not Keisha's car, my old F-150 with the rusted wheel wells and the check engine light that's been on since 2022. Head south instead of north, toward the coast instead of away from it. The highways are packed going the other direction, evacuation traffic, bumper to bumper, but southbound is empty. Just me and a few other idiots heading toward the storm. The rain starts around Wiggins. Not heavy yet, just the outer bands, but I can see the clouds building to the south, black and green and angry. The radio's all emergency broadcasts now. All residents south of Highway 98 are ordered to evacuate immediately. Storm surge of unprecedented magnitude. If you have not evacuated, Take shelter in a sturdy building on high ground and prepare for the worst. I'm not looking for high ground. I'm looking for something else. I find it near Ocean Springs, at a boat launch that's already starting to flood. There's a John boat tied to a tree, some fisherman's probably, abandoned when the evacuation order came. I hotwire it. Not proud of the theft, but the owner's gone and I need it, and push off into the rising water. The singing is loud now, not coming from the water anymore, coming from inside my head, or maybe there's no difference. The transformed are in the surge, riding it inland, and they're calling to each other, coordinating, planning. And they know I'm here. I motor out into what used to be a marsh, now just open water with trees sticking up like grave markers. The wind's picking up, probably sustained at 60 already with gusts higher. The John boat rocks and pitches, and spray soaks me within minutes. In the distance, I see them, dozens of them, maybe hundreds, moving through the water in formation like a school of fish or a murder of crows, heading inland, heading toward Hattiesburg, toward Atlanta, toward every place people evacuated to thinking they were safe. I cut the engine, let the boat drift, and I wait. They surround me slowly, deliberately, not attacking, just watching. Their heads break the surface one by one, those yellow eyes reflecting the lightning that's starting to split the sky. Faces that used to be human, bodies that evolved or mutated or transformed into something designed for water, for hunting, for spreading. One of them surfaces closer. I recognize him, or what's left of him. The shape of his face, the scar on his shoulder from a fishing accident years ago. When? He tilts his head, the way Jamal did that day on the barge, like he's trying to remember. Then he opens his mouth and that singing pours out. Not words, but I understand it anyway. Come down. Join us. The water is home. I can't. My voice sounds small against the wind and waves. I have a daughter, a life. I can't just. He moves closer, and I see it now. He's not trying to attack me. He's offering, reaching out with one webbed hand, palm up, an invitation. Behind him, the others wait, patient, and in that moment I understand. They're not mindless. They're not monsters. They're transformed, evolved, adapted to a world that's mostly water now. A world that's going to keep flooding, keep drowning, keep washing away everything humans built. And they want me to join them, because I'm immune to the infection but not to the call. Because some part of me, genetic or psychological or spiritual, resonates with what they've become. I think about Jamal asking me to kill him before the transformation completed. About how terrified he was of losing himself. But looking at Nguyen now, I don't see terror. I see something else. Peace maybe, or purpose. He's not suffering. He's not screaming inside a shell. He's just different. The wind howls, the surge rises, the boat's filling with water, and I'm going to drown out here whether I want to or not. The only question is whether I drown as Marcus Hale, human, survivor, father, or whether I drown and come back up as something else. Nguyen's hand is still extended. I reach for it, and then I stop, because I hear something else underneath the singing. A smaller voice, higher. Destiny, asking when I'm coming home. Keisha, telling me to put my life back together. Rodriguez, saying she lost her entire district and everyone in it. Not everyone. I got out. I survived. And maybe that means something after all. Maybe being the one who lives, the one who remembers, the one who can tell the story, maybe that's worth something too. I pull my hand back, look at Nguyen, at what used to be Nguyen, and shake my head. I'm sorry. I can't. Not yet. Maybe not ever. He doesn't attack, doesn't force me, just sinks back beneath the surface, and the others follow. They could kill me, drown me, drag me down, transform me by force, but they don't. They just leave. And I'm alone in a sinking John boat in the middle of Hurricane Olivia, and I should be terrified, but mostly I just feel tired. The boat goes under around dawn. I'm a strong swimmer, 15 years Coast Guard, hundreds of rescues, so I make it to high ground. A concrete overpass on Highway 90, elevated 30 feet, already crowded with other people who got trapped by the surge. We huddle there for 18 hours while Olivia passes over. And when it's done, when the water finally recedes, I'm still alive, still human, still carrying the memory of Jamal and Gwyn and Torres and Mitchell and everyone else who didn't make it. The National Guard pulls us off the overpass 2 days later. They take us to a new observation camp, bigger than Camp Charlie, more permanent. They test us, isolate us, watch for symptoms, and after 14 more days, they release me again. Keisha picks me up at the gate, doesn't ask where I went or what I did, just drives me back to Atlanta, where Destiny's waiting with her soccer ball and her questions I can't really answer. I get a job with a construction company, rebuilding houses in neighborhoods that flooded. This good work, physical, meaningful, something I can see results from, and it keeps me away from the water. Because I know they're still out there, still spreading, still singing. And I know that someday, maybe next hurricane season, maybe 10 years from now, they'll come far enough inland that nowhere is safe. The water will rise high enough, spread far enough, that even Atlanta floods, even the mountains. When that happens, maybe I'll finally answer the call. Maybe I'll take Nguyen's offered hand and let the transformation take me. Become whatever humanity is evolving into, for better or worse. But not today. Today I'm Marcus Hale, Coast Guard veteran, father, survivor, the man who saw the world ending by water and chose to stay human anyway. For however long that choice remains mine to make. I still hear them singing, probably always will. But I don't go down to the water. Not yet.